Hello, hello, hello. So I wanted to come on. Sorry about that. So I wanted to come on here today to talk about um, college planning. A lot of questions. A lot of questions. It's a time of year where students are anxious, parents are anxious about college. Maybe you're moving your child in. Maybe you're starting college. Maybe you're a rising senior or your child is a rising senior. But I get so many questions that I wanted to just take time out to to answer some questions, but also to talk about some misconceptions about college. So whether you're watching this live with me or if you're watching the replay, um, feel free to reach out to me. I have posted my email address in the post for this live video. And I'm hoping you all can hear me okay. So as you jump in, let me know if you can hear me okay. But let me introduce myself first for those that may not know me. I'm Dr. Andrea Johnson, and I am the owner of A&J Consulting Services. And I work with individuals and organizations in the areas of financial management. So that's that budgeting, college planning, money management, credit. I also work with people in the areas of leadership development. So I'm an executive coach and I provide leadership development services as it relates to the DISC personality assessment. I offer those through my company, and I do staff development trainings and workshops. So if you're interested in learning more about how to deal with other people as well as yourself, um, I offer those services. Also, as it relates to emotional intelligence, I'm also a certified emotional intelligence practitioner. So, again, as you want to improve your relationship with others as well as yourself, I do provide those trainings and assessments. And lastly, I also specialize in business development as it relates to startups, for-profit and nonprofit organizations. So if you're interested in starting a business, or maybe you're in business but you've done the legal paperwork, but the planning you still need help with, I talk with you all about those things. So feel free to visit my website. Reach out to me if you have questions. I'll be doing some more live streams in the future as it relates to those topics of business development and leadership development. Um, so feel free to reach out to me. Like I said, I have my email address that's posted, or you can message me here on Facebook. So let's get into it. I just want to spend a lot of time, not a lot of time, um, but just wanted to answer some questions about myself. Oh, I also have a nonprofit called Bridge. We serve Thomasville and surrounding Thomasville, North Carolina, and surrounding areas. We provide scholarships to Thomasville high school students, and we also provide all of the trainings that I offer through A&J Consulting Services to organizations to serve their clients as well. So whether that's schools, colleges, and universities, nonprofit organizations, corporations. So we partner to be able to do those things as well. So anyway, let's get started. So I'm gonna just start with some common misconceptions about the college planning process. Some of the misconceptions are that you need to wait till your senior year to start. I encourage families to start as early as ninth grade, um, preparing. Of course, you can't apply for college in ninth grade, but you can certainly start to explore the types of careers that your child may be interested in. Um, they have all kinds of SAT preparation services. Some of them are free. That if your child doesn't test well, that you can sign up for. I know me, many years ago when I was in high school, I was a terrible standardized test taker, and I still am. So according to my SAT scores for college, I should not have graduated from college with honors, but I did. My GRE scores for graduate school, I should not have graduated, probably finished graduate school, but I did. So some of us just don't test well, and we need that extra um, guidance and that extra time, because trying to do all of that in your senior year can be stressful. So I encourage families to start as early as ninth grade, so they understand what kinds of courses that they need to take in high school. They need to start getting their extracurricular activities together, planning leadership development or leadership activities, because all of these things are important in a college application. And so trying to do all of these things in your senior year, trying to take the SAT if you're taking it for the first time, or the ACT for the colleges that require it, colleges and universities, is important that you have some time, because the number one killer of receiving scholarships, and maybe even not getting into the school that of your choice, is time. So you may be working, you may have a lot of extracurricular activities, or a combination, and you just don't have time. So in my experience of doing this for many, many, many years, that's the number one thing that prevents people from being able to fund their college, not planning early enough, and then the stress of it will just make you want to give up. So if you are in your senior year, if you started your senior year, there's still some time, but you need to act now. So that means getting all of your, lining up your extracurricular activities from ninth grade, going back, making a list from ninth grade to now. If you don't have a list, you need to be thinking about things that you can get involved in this year while also maintaining your grades. But what are some things that you can do? Because universities and colleges are looking for well-rounded students. So not just someone who makes good grades, but also those that will make the university look good. So how are you well-rounded? What activities are you in? Who are those people that can speak well of you? Also, you need to get letters of recommendation. So you don't want to wait to the last minute to ask your teachers or people in the community that know you to write recommendation letters. These are some things that you need to be doing if you are in 12th grade. So if you are in 12th grade, it is not too late, but you need to act now. And I also help people with navigating this process. So if you need help and you're lost, please reach out to me. I have some specials going on. I'm offering 50% off my college services. I also have books that I've written on these topics. I have 6 books that I've written in all the areas that I talked about in my business. But I do have one called Step by Step, How to Save Thousands on College Tuition. I have 6 books that I've written in areas of leadership, business, credit, on and on. But you can visit my website to learn more about that. But it is so important that you get organized, that you schedule time in your schedule to devote to applying to colleges if you are a senior, to applying for scholarships. Okay? I can't say that enough. So if you're not in the 12th grade, so ideally, I recommend that students don't start later than their 11th grade year, no later than the summer going into their 12th grade year, applying for college or looking at colleges. Again, you have your deadlines that you have to wait to apply for in your senior year, but you can still apply for scholarships. You can still receive scholarships even though you haven't graduated yet. There are some scholarship sources that will pay you directly. There are some scholarship sources that you can apply for scholarships as early as 13. There's a site called unigo.com where they have some opportunities that will come through for people who are as young as 13. So that's another common misconception, that you have to be in the 12th grade to receive scholarships. So parents, make that your kid's part-time job, because some of them will pay you directly. Now some will, you have to wait where they pay the school directly. But again, so that is a common misconception. You do not have to wait until your child's 12th grade year to apply for scholarships. Let's see. Another one. Now, grades are important. Now, one thing about me, I taught at the college level for many, many, many years. So I'm not here to tell you that grades aren't important, because they are. But it's not the only determining factor when applying, for scholarships into college. So, for example, there are scholarships out there where they don't even ask about grades. These are legitimate scholarships, not scholarships. There's a lot of scams out there, so you got to watch out for your scams. But there are a lot of scholarships out there that all you have to do is put your name in. There are many raffles, scholarship raffles, where you can sign up for. Like, another legitimate site is fastweb.com. So Fastweb is wonderful as well. And so they will have some of those opportunities come in where they're just raffles. You put your name in. You put your name in for a monthly raffle. You can apply every month. Some of them are thousands, some of them are tens of thousands of dollars. So there are so many opportunities. So now when we talk about scholarships, you have your merit-based scholarships, which are based on your grades. Then you have your need-based scholarships, which are based on your financial need, which is another misconception, that you can't get scholarships if your parents make a certain amount of money. Well, you may not qualify for some, but there are some where income is not an issue. There are scholarships out there like write about your favorite ice cream in 1,000 words or less, or create a 60-second video about texting and driving. So that's a misconception. So again, I'm not saying that grades are not important, but what I am saying is that it is important that you understand that those are not the only types of scholarships out there. So again, there are three main types: your need-based, your merit-based, and those other pools of money. Okay? So let me also interject here that with college students, there are still opportunities for you to apply for scholarships. So another misconception when we're talking about all this money out here is that once you go to college, there's no money, or once you go to graduate school, there's no money. And that is simply not true. A lot of the sources that I mentioned, those two sources, databases, website, FastWeb and Unigo, and they're not paying me to talk about them. There are a lot of free scholarship websites out there. Those are just some of my favorite. It's important to understand. It's really important to understand just how you schedule your time. So a lot of those, you can also set up accounts if you're in graduate school, whether you're working on a master's degree or a PhD. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how old you are. So if you're 75 returning to school, there are scholarship opportunities for you. And the way these databases work, they will ask you about your major, the school that you're attending. They will ask you about your hobbies. They'll ask you about your parents. So that's another misconception. There's money out there for everybody, okay? So a lot of times people say, oh, there's that money out there for this major or that major. Now, if you do a standard Google search and start just looking for all kinds of, doing a Google search, you can get lost and you can end up on scammers pages. But the best way, one of the ways when I'm helping people is to say, okay, let's look at what your major is. Okay, let's create these profiles so that helps to guide you. And when you're using these free databases that I mentioned, it is important that you answer every question and that you update it when there are changes in your life, or when you're moving from one level of education to the next. So like if you're a high school senior, towards the end of your so you're going to be looking for money for your freshman year. Well, when you're a freshman, towards the end of your freshman year, you want to update the databases to say, hey, I'm looking for money for my sophomore year. And so it is your responsibility to keep the databases updated. I have a lot of people that tell me, Well, I couldn't find anything when I completed the profile. There are millions of dollars, and I have set up databases, and I've helped people find millions of dollars in scholarships. But the challenge is you have to keep those profiles updated, and you have to apply. Okay? And again, one of the biggest challenges in students receiving scholarships is the time. And a lot of times they have a time crunch. So again, whether you're an undergraduate student, graduate student, high school student, there is money out there for you. Okay? Let's see, I have a little list of common questions and misconceptions. So I want to just throw this out here as well. The FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. So it had just opened up this past October. I'm looking on the site right now to see when the next round opens. But you want to make sure that you complete your FAFSA. Now, if you're in college, then your college has different deadlines. But I encourage you to take a look at it. Now it says the form for 2024-2025. I'm looking at the site right now. It's now available. So make sure you visit studentaid.gov to find out when the deadlines are. You know, whether you feel like you can apply for financial aid or eligible for financial aid or not, still apply for it. Now, this application will determine, you know, what kind of aid you're eligible to receive. They look at your parents' income, or if not your parents' income, your income. It depends on whether you're a dependent or not. But they look at tax returns and different things to determine your ability to pay for your education. So that's where a lot of your federal loans are going to come from. Any state grants, anything that's government related and is not designed, a lot of times, depending on where you go to school, to pay for your entire education. So that's where your Pell Grant comes from. Now, if you're a graduate student, you can apply for Pell or subsidized loans where they pay your interest while you're in school, but you can still qualify for unsubsidized loans. So I just tell people to complete it anyway. That's where your work study would come from if you're offered that. So again, you want to go to studentaid.gov to see when that opens up and see what the deadlines are. You want to get in there early because that money goes fast. And so, and you want, again, going back to scheduling time, that's when you need to make sure that you have that in your schedule as well. All right, let's see, what are some of the other common misconceptions here? So we talked about how early should you start. I'd say as early as 9th grade, but no later than the summer going into your senior year. But ideally, your junior year is going to be perfect. But again, you can start getting scholarships as early as 13. In my book, How to Save Thousands on College Tuition, I talk about some of the other ways. Again, I tell people you got that low-hanging fruit. So if you're a member of a church or a religious organization, find out if they have those things. Scholarships. It's a lot of organizations that I've come into contact with that say they just can't even give the scholarships away. Students will not apply. So you could be the only person applying for a scholarship, and that's not a bad problem to have. No, I wouldn't be mad if I was the only scholarship applicant, especially if you have a quality application. So you want to make sure that also, like your employer, ask if your employer has scholarships. Ask if your parents' employees have scholarships, your employees have scholarships. There are a lot of opportunities out there. So again, I'm just throwing out a few today. But again, there are a lot of things you have to plan for. Again, not just how to find money, but how to apply for your colleges, understanding what their criteria is, those types of things. Again, I do workshops and trainings, full workshops. Again, we're just chatting here, just answering a few questions. We're just chatting here today, just to get you thinking about some things. So And then ask around people that you know. Hey, do you know, are you connected with an organization that has scholarships? But the scholarship databases are really helpful because they will send you updates and emails when you have deadlines. Um, but again, if you feel overwhelmed at any point, you go seek some help. Reach out to me. Also, your guidance counselors at your high schools. Go and see what the guidance counselors, what scholarships they have. Like in our with our scholarship through my nonprofit, we take our scholarship application over in the spring. But so you have organizations that will take scholarship applications over there at different times, or maybe your child's school, or if you're a student, maybe your school, your guidance counselor, if you're in high school, a lot of schools they'll have lists. Now the list can take a little bit longer to sort through because you got to go through and see which scholarships you're eligible for, and that's when most people get discouraged and it takes the most time. So that's why I strongly encourage people to set up accounts on these free scholarship database websites to create your the database so that it organizes it for you by deadline, by your eligibility requirements, so you don't have to sift through. Now, every now and then one may slide through that you're not eligible for right now, but you may be eligible for later on. So that's very important. But also make sure you're checking in with your guidance counselor. Let them know you're interested in going to college. You want to know what scholarships are available. If they provide a list, you stay on that list. And again, make sure that you are creating a schedule to work on college applications and scholarships or scholarships. Okay? Reading bulletin boards. Now that may sound old fashioned, but read bulletin boards. A lot of colleges and universities will put them up on like the bulletin board scholarship opportunities. True story. Ooh, let me see. 27 years ago when I was in college, I found I can't remember now, it's been so long. I think it was a $1,500. I'd write about it in my book. But I think it was a $1,500 scholarship opportunity, or was it $2,000? I can't remember. It's been so long. I have to look at the book. But to actually spend 6 weeks at the University of Pennsylvania to participate in a summer institute for demographic research. My background is sociology. That's what my master's and my bachelor's is in, and that's what I taught for many years at the college level. And my PhD is in leadership studies. So demography is you study birth rates, death rates, population rates, things like that. So they paid for my plane ticket round trip. I stayed at the University of Pennsylvania for 6 weeks. Everything was covered. And then we were able to go to New York University, NYU, to participate in the Undergraduate Summer Research Institute. And that was my first professional presentation. So long ago. Nonetheless, maybe it was $2,000. I can't remember, but it was at least $1,000. But I received that stipend on top of a free trip to participate and stay on campus and then go to NYU. They paid for our train ride to NYU, which wasn't that far from Philadelphia, and I found it on a bulletin board. And someone told me recently they found a scholarship on a bulletin board. So again, seems old-fashioned. Start reading them bulletin boards. If you're in college, it doesn't matter what building you're in. If you're a sociology major and you're in the math building, read all the bulletin boards in all the buildings where you are on campus. It's money there. Also in your chairperson's office, a lot of times they will have, I'm talking about college students now, in your chairperson's office, they'll have opportunities. That's where I saw that opportunity I told you about the University of Pennsylvania. I found out about it in one of the buildings in our departments, in one of the suites in my department. I remember one of my professors said, "How did you find out about that?" Because when I returned, they had me to do a presentation on my experiences at the University of Pennsylvania. And I told him I found it on the bulletin board. So open your eyes, ask, but also sign up for some of these databases so that it can help you organize your time. Now I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about some common mistakes on applications as it relates to scholarships and your college applications. Excuse me. I'm gonna jump to the scholarships for a second. So I've seen a lot of students make mistakes So with our scholarship, we we ask you to write an essay. We don't give you a length, but we ask for a couple of things: extracurricular activities, leadership positions, letters of recommendation. We ask for official transcripts, um, and we I have a committee that reads those. I prepare the applications and make sure they are sent to the high school, and then I get the applications that we receive. I'm sorry, and I send them to our scholarship committee, and there's a way that we score them. We give so many points for financial needs, so many points for extracurricular activities, on and on and on. So it's important that you read these directions and follow the directions. That's a common mistake, because if you don't follow the directions, then it may mean that you don't get scores on certain areas in certain things. And of course, what we do is we add up all the scores, and whoever receives the highest, because we give one $1,000 scholarship. So a lot of times organizations may have one scholarship to give, or even if they have multiple, they can't, a lot of times they can't give money to everybody that applies. So we have a scoring system where we decide who the person is going to be. So it's important to follow the directions. It's important. So like with our scholarship, when we ask you to tell us why you need the scholarship, what you don't want to do is just say, because my parents are on a fixed income. We've seen one-liners, or we've seen people that don't really put effort into it. And you can tell when somebody's writing an essay, you need to tell us why. And again, this is confidential information, so we're not going to share your name with anybody, with the public, as it relates to what you wrote. However, it is important that you educate and inform the people that are reading your application on why you need the scholarship if an essay is required. So you need to talk about your financial needs, your family situation. You really need to tell us why. Otherwise, if you don't demonstrate you need it, then you're going to get lower scores. That's not the only thing that we look at, but it is critical. And if you write an essay and it's clear that you didn't put any effort in it, then we want to make sure that we're giving our money to a student that is deserving, that's put the time in. If you're using essays to apply to more than one school or more than one scholarship, please change the name of the organization, so that my nonprofit's name is Bridge, and the name of the scholarship is the Jesse and Ollie Johnson Memorial Scholarship. Please don't put in your essay that you want the Goodwill Scholarship when we're not Goodwill. I'm just making up something. Mistakes do happen, but make sure that you read over your essays. These kinds of things happen when you're in a hurry, you're trying to throw something in at the last minute. I've seen essays that were clearly for college applications, and they talked about wanting to be a part of our institution. Well, this is for your scholarship, not to apply to to any institution of higher learning. So please make sure you modify those things accurately and read over to make sure that you make it to fit whoever you're writing to. If it's for a scholarship, make sure it's tailor-made, that essay. Because again, it's good to be able to write and reuse things that you've written and save it, but you need to make sure you tailor-make it for the organization. So follow those directions. Let's see what else. So I covered how early to start. I discussed that there are all kinds of scholarship opportunities. I talked about there are scholarships even if you're not a straight A student. I talked about places to look for scholarships. I talked about following directions on that the applications. Here's one more thing. If on your college application, and again, always give them what they ask for. Don't give them anything extra, and don't give them anything less. But there are some that will give you the option to write an essay. If it's an option, write an essay anyway. It helps you to stand out. Okay? So I know you're tired, But again, this is why planning it and putting it into your schedule on a regular basis will help you to be able um, to make sure you have an application that reaches the top of the pile. Okay, like I tell people, there are no guarantees that you're going to get a scholarship when you apply for it. But the name of the game is the more that you apply for, the more you increase your chances. So even when I help people navigate this process, I do not do the work for them. So if you're looking for somebody to do the work for you, I don't do the work for you. But what I will do is walk you through the process, help you navigate it. I have services where I'll review your essays and review your award letters, give you feedback on your essays, help you to set up your the databases, how to do it, be there with you throughout the process. But I'm not writing your essays, I'm not applying for scholarships for you, but I am there with you as a guide. And it is important that you really learn that process, because you can carry that process over. Your child can carry that process over into when they're in graduate school, and continue to do that. Okay. So like I said, I also talked about the free application for student aid. Go to studentaid.gov to be able to find out what those deadlines are. Go to your guidance counselor. If you're in college, well, go to your guidance counselor. Let me back up. For those scholarship opportunities, go to your financial aid office or the financial aid website. Whatever college or university that you attend, they usually have scholarship opportunities on their websites. Sometimes it's under financial aid. Sometimes it's somewhere else. Could visit the financial aid office to see whatever else, they may have. So again, sometimes there are opportunities there that students don't even know about, as well as in your departments, as I mentioned. I talked about common mistakes, not following the directions, not looking back over your essays, tailor making your essays. Again, nothing wrong with using an essay that you use for someone else, but you got to tailor make it to fit it. Using AI to write essays, I've talked a little bit about that in my workshops. But again, you got to be careful when you're using artificial intelligence, AI. You can use AI to help you get started, but you do not want to just copy and paste an essay that was created using AI. What you want to do is look at that. Take those ideas and use it to tailor make your own, because otherwise it's plagiarizing. So again, if you're just looking for ideas on how to get you started, then AI is not a bad thing. But remember, you do not want to copy and paste something that's identical to what any of the sites that you use that have generated that. Wouldn't that be awful if you copied and pasted and somebody just copied and pasted your essay into AI to see into one of those sites to see your essay word for word? Or maybe your essay is identical to somebody else's. So AI is not a bad thing, but use it to get ideas on how to get started. So anyway, one other thing that I'll cover before I end is make sure you know how much it costs, because you can't go to college unless you pay for it. I've had people ask me, well, what happens if I can't pay the bill? Then you're not going to class. That's just the name of the game. It is a business. Okay. If you're a parent and you're watching this and your child is currently in school or on their way and you still have a balance, I always tell people, call financial aid and ask, do you have any more funds that we may not know about? My child really wants to go here, but we still need $10,000, $5,000, $1,000, whatever it is. I have advised people on doing that. There have been times where their bills were reduced from, let's say, $15,000 all the way down to maybe $1,000 or a couple hundred. So it doesn't hurt to ask if you're in a time crunch. But if you're in college right now, you had to take out loans. The best place to take out your loans is with the federal government, because at least if something happens that you can't pay them, they have different types of hardship programs, whereas a lot of times private lenders, they want your money regardless. They want their money regardless of what you're going through. So if you had to take out loans, make sure that once you get settled in to classes and everything, that make sure, or you or your child, make sure that they get the ball rolling with applying for scholarships. So my advice really goes for, again, if anybody that's in high school, whether they're in college, graduate school, but you can still get thousands of dollars. It's just, I've seen millions of dollars out there. And you don't need millions, you just need a little piece of it. So make sure to ask. It doesn't hurt to ask. For those parents that may be looking, or people that work with college students or high school students, 11th graders need to start right now so that there's a smooth transition into 12th grade. 12th graders need to start right now and not wait until the spring to start. It's just, now you can still catch a lot of the waves of money that and deadlines. I think that's all for now. I just wanted to come on and chat a little bit, but as I mentioned, reach out to me if you need help with the process, or if you work with students and would love a workshop. I do workshops and trainings. I have a YouTube page. I post things every now and then. I have, if you have student loan debt, I have a webinar that I had created some years ago, but it's still relevant, and it's called Student Loan Debt, There's Life After. For those of us who didn't know these things that ended up with student loan debt, there's life after. So I talk about how do you manage it, what do you do when you can't, and how do you manage your personal finances and still have life even when you have student loan debt. So you can still have student loan debt but still be successful financially, but you also need to understand how to manage money properly. And that's what I'll say. So that's Dr. Andrea Ian Johnson on YouTube. Go to my website, www.anjconsultingservices.com. I'll put it in the post and in the chat. And you can check out all the books that I have. But, if you need someone to come out and do some training in person or virtually, or you need somebody to walk you through this journey, or any of the other services that I offer, feel free to reach out to me. But feel free to drop your comments in the chat if you're watching this after the fact. But feel free to send me a message or email me. Share this with someone. So again, make sure that you get your mind right. You got to get your mind right for the process, and you have to schedule time. So I hope you found this helpful. Again, I'm offering 50% off of all of my college planning services for a limited time only. So reach out to me, and I'm happy to send you some information about that. But make sure you share this with someone, and just stay encouraged, because there is a lot of money out there and you can get it. Okay? It's just a matter of staying in the game and understanding those things that you need that will increase your chances of receiving scholarships and being accepted into colleges and or your universities. So again, I look forward to hearing from each one of you. Again, share this with a friend, and have an amazing day or evening whenever you watch this. And again, I'm Dr. Andrea Johnson. Have a wonderful day or evening.